Just yesterday, I was chatting with a friend of mine back in Rome. Between one thing and the other, she asked me, "How are you doing in Monaco today compared to the day you arrived?" To be extremely concise, today, after 6 years, I can confirm that I'm not just doing well, I'm doing great. Yet, looking at the rear view mirror, those first streets of Monaco still smell of sweat, ambition, and yes, financial worry. However, the one thing I discovered when I started living here is that paradoxically, in the beginning, money is the last thing that matters. Wealth isn't just made of cash. In fact, when you are starting out, when you are poor in financial resources, you actually hold 3 unfair advantages over the rich that no one even tells you. It was thanks to these 3 points that I built my client here in the Principality. First is agility. If you have nothing, you have nothing to protect. Unlike those with huge capital and heavy responsibilities who are slaves of their lifestyles, you are free. You can take risks they can't afford, including the risk of changing your life completely, because you have no dead weight. Second is the cost of mistake. If you fail today, the cost is low. The lessons you learn now by messing up will be worth millions in 10 years, but today you're paying pennies for them. Third is time and compound interest of skills. I'm not just talking about finance, I'm talking about your skill set. Every year lost between 20 and 35 thinking instead of doing will cost you a competitive advantage in the future. Those starting from zero have the hunger of those who need to catch up, and that hunger is pure fuel. Today, I've reached the managerial level, but I haven't forgotten the journey from day one when I arrived here with little more than nothing. By the way, if you're curious about how my experience started, I'll leave you the link to that video in the description. Anyway, as I always do, in this chapter I want to dismantle the myth that Monaco is only for those who have already made it, explaining why this place is the ultimate expression of global meritocracy and how my first step here was my best investment and how it could be for you too. Hello and welcome back to Efficonte Lounge. Let's start with the basic concept. When starting out, the problem isn't starting from nothing. The problem is starting without a plan, without a vision. Because at the beginning, all of us everywhere on the first step of the career ladder are or have been interns. This is the most important tunnel for earning your stripes, or rather, realizing that while you absorb knowledge, you must use it to solve someone else's problem. If you think about it, this is the very principle of a salary. The better I am at solving complex problems, the more my experience matures and the higher my hourly rate goes. It's linear. Being an intern in Monaco is like a high-speed psychological endurance test. Forget the pace you were used to back home. Here, you don't run to participate, you run for global pole position. Imagine being on a Formula 1 circuit. The asphalt is perfect, the cars sparkle, but a single distraction sends you into the wall. You are a goldfish in an ocean where the current moves at insane speed, and the other swimmers never seem to tire. But don't fear. This frantic pace is nothing more than a filter. It separates those who just want to take a ride from those who want to be drivers. The selection here is unforgiving. Adapt to light speed or stay in the pit lane. Grab a pen and a paper and write it down. Monaco meritocracy is ruthless but honest. Unlike other contexts, the economic fabric here is so dense and fast that if you don't bring value, you're out. And be careful, even with a permanent contract, you can't rest on your laurels. If you don't maintain quality or if you behave unethically, you can be fired, and the local mercy rarely grants a second chance. But don't worry, there are many positives that justify this natural selection. What you need to learn before arriving here can be summarized in 3 petals of the same flower. First is that humility is a weapon. Spend a couple of years in Monaco listening more than speaking. Second, reliability is the local currency. In a place where billions circulate, the people you surround yourself with are exponentially more valuable than an inconsistent genius. Third, the inseparable link between time and patience. This is where everyone gets wrong. I'll tell you a secret. When you get here, ask any local. If you weren't born here, how long does it take to start living well in Monaco? You'll notice the number is the same for everyone. There is a maturity curve. It's the formula of finance applied to life. Mass multiplied time, where mass at the beginning isn't money, but your professional value. Let's do some real math. I started as an intern at 700 euros. Today, after 6 years, I've achieved a plus 328% of growth. Numbers that make you want to pack your bags immediately, right? But before you rush to book a ticket, we must understand how entering this closed circuit technically works. Let's get technical. How long does this probation period really last? If I wanted to replicate my trajectory and look for an internship in Monaco today, finding one isn't super difficult. The duration varies between 2 to 6 months with a minimum pay of 540 euros per month and an average of about 700 euros. We agree, it's very little for a place swimming in billions, but that's how it works. These are regulated by law and commensurate with the minimum wage, the SMIC, which is around 2,000 euros per month, regardless of your professional. Obviously, this doesn't apply if you are already an experienced professional. In that case, of course, goodbye to an internship. Keep the 3 flower petals in mind and go straight for a contract. However, regardless of your starting point in the principality, remember that the system is designed to test you. It either opens the doors of the Olympus or it sends to home. Coming here implies having saved some money for the first few months where you are almost certain to break even or lose money on rent, transport, and adapting to the cost of living. Third, Monaco is a tiny fraction of a neighborhood in any European metropolis. In this closed circuit, once you cross the threshold, your DNA starts circulating in the system. Getting in is the hardest hurdle, but once you're inside, it's a downhill. Why? Because in such small territory, your reputation precedes you by 3 offices. The chance of staying in the company where you first started is very high if you demonstrated value. But even if you decide to change, it's easier because you are already validated by the Monaco ecosystem. The real challenge is not just doing the job, but making yourself known in the right places, transforming physical proximity into a competitive advantage. And above all, investing in yourself by holding on. If the system recognizes you as one of its own, you are in forever. I mentioned earlier that patience connected to time is an asset if you want to keep climbing. There is a question many young professionals ask me after their internship. I got an offer. Should I stay or should I switch immediately for a raise? My answer is clear. Generally, if the company is solid and healthy, stay. Stay there for at least 3 or 4 years. I know the temptation to chase a salary bump elsewhere is strong, but Monaco isn't London or Dubai. Here, Changing companies too quick, let's say every 12 or 18 months, doesn't make you look like a rising star, but the exact opposite. To the eye of the big local entrepreneurs and executives, fast rotations means basically two things. First one is that either you couldn't handle the pressure, or second, you're chasing easy money without loyalty. And in Monaco, if you burn your reputation, you don't have another city to run to. Changing is a winning strategy only if done at the right moment. Moving to the next role after 4 to 5 years sends a message of power, basically because you completed a cycle, you proved you can finish long-term projects. You acquired competence. You aren't an amateur who tastes a job. You are an expert who consolidated the corporate DNA. And third, desirability. It's not you desperately looking for a new office. It's another leader deciding to invest in you because you showed consistency. To conclude, what's my advice? Well, don't burn yourself for a handful of euros right away. Build your credibility like a fortress. Only when the fortress is solid enough, you can afford to expand your empire elsewhere. The real climb in Monaco is a marathon, not a sprint. So, to summarize, here are the pillars for anyone wanting to pursue this climb. First, become indispensable but invisible. Solve complex problems without constantly seeking applause. Executives notice who fixes things quietly, not who makes noise. Second, invest 30% of your time in social capital. In Monaco, your network is your net worth. Don't network to ask, network to offer value. Third, the immersion rule. If you want success, speak the language, understand the unwritten codes, and frequent the places where decisions are made. Fourth, build your financial exit strategy from day one. Don't wait to be rich to think about passive income. Start as an intern, even with little. Inner peace is built with compound interest. Fifth, maybe the most important, maintain ethical hunger. Meritocracy rewards you if you're fast, but keeps you at the top only if you're checking your integrity. Reputation in Monaco is crystal, beautiful, but if it cracks, it never returns to its original state. So, every morning I wake up, I thank Monaco and life for this opportunity. Monaco gave me a lot, but it also took away many excuses. It's not a place for those who want to try, it's a place for those who want to become. If you're at the start of your journey, remember, today's intern is tomorrow's decision maker, provided that they accept total immersion in the process. What about you? What is the next step you will take to turn your career into a source of freedom? Write it in the comments. I read everything, and it will be a pleasure to accompany you in your path. We see each other very soon in the next video, always here in the Cafe Conte Lounge. Bye!